So, guys, what you're about to hear is a video that I filmed going over our presentation with Collective Genius. Collective Genius, guys, is a mastermind we're a part of where we present every quarter on something we feel we're good at. Just to give you guys a background, what we presented on me and Chandler is about how we were able to create our business around our lifestyle, allowing us to travel and be virtual. And part of that was going over our sales process. And we talked mostly in this clip. We talked about setting expectations with sellers. So I want to show you what it looked like on our diagnosis script here, which is what our lead managers use. Right, we used it to diagnose a seller and see if they're a fit to get an appointment. Right, so this is. I just want to show you this before we go into that call, so you have a little background on it, and it'll kind of give you a little idea of what I'm talking about. So, for example, I just want to go over the script real quick. Um, and not the script, but the setting expectations part, which I feel is one of the most important things. But for example, I'm just going to read through it here, how it sounds like from our lead managers. So we're talking to a seller, we get it confirmed that they want to sell the property. What we're going to go into is say, hey, thanks for taking my call. Is it okay if I share with you, how we work before we get started? Great, thanks. I'm just going to ask you some questions about your property and situation, and if you feel at any time we're not a fit, please let me know, and I'll do the same. Seem fair? And if we are a good fit, we will schedule a call where a home buying specialist will present you with the number that your property qualified for. Is that okay? And you'll see me hit on these points and why it's important to say this, but I want to give you a background of me reading the script and understanding what this video is about. You guys got any questions, leave them down below. Please like, subscribe, share this with someone. Share this with anyone getting into real estate wholesaling. And reality is, share this with anyone getting into sales, because setting expectations can be done universal through any type of closing.
And another thing here, the first and third bullet point kind of go together, and I'll hit them together, is in our expectations we set for our lead managers is we say in the lead manager and the expectations is, hey, at any time if you feel we're not a fit, please let me know and I'll do the same. Now, that small sentence right there does the freaking wonders, because it talks about kind of what I mentioned in the first slide about likability and trustworthy. The seller's got their guard up. If you tell the seller that they can tell us no at any time and that we're not always the best fit, when you tell the sellers that, you set the expectation with them in the beginning of the call. This is what we're doing in the beginning of the call. When you tell them that, immediately their guard's down, because now they have the perception they have control of the whole conversation. Now we're still going and controlling what we're saying, what we're asking, but they now know at any time they can say no, which they really do have control. And with them knowing they have control of this conversation, they're not feeling that they're being sold anymore. They're not feeling like we're making them sell to us. They know they can tell us no at any time. Their guard's down, and now that allows us to have deeper conversations with sellers, right? And the second slide here is painting the picture for the seller on AM and lead manager side. So for example, another point of setting expectations, we tell them on the lead LM side, lead manager side, hey, if we are a good fit, what it would mean is setting up an appointment where you would talk to our home buying specialist, where they would present you the number the property qualified for, right? So we're telling them what's going to happen if it is a good fit, and how does that help us, right? Well, when they start talking midway through this, our script, and they start saying, just make me an offer, make me an offer. Well, we're going to tell them, like I told you in the beginning, I just need to see if we're a good fit. And if we're a good fit, remember, like I said, the home buying specialist is going to present you the number of the property qualified for. And I've never had a seller or try to go against me after I already reference back to it, right? So if the seller tells me, just make me an offer, when I mentioned that I told them and they said yes, when I told them in the beginning of the script that, hey, you can talk to a home buying specialist after, if we decide we're a good fit, you can talk to a home buying specialist. You remember when you told me that it's okay, you agree to that? Well, they never question you. And, oh yeah, you're right, keep going, right? Another quick way on the AM, and I know I'm speaking a lot, on the AM, we tell them if we agree on a price, what it would mean is going over the agreement over the phone right after, right? Or going the agreement on DocuSign, going over the agreement on the phone through DocuSign right after we decide we're a fit. Now, what does that do? Well, when the seller agrees on the price, they know what's going to happen next. They know they need to get on the phone. Now, if they tell us they don't need to, that's when we start digging deeper in questions. We start figuring out why. We mentioned back, hey, you remember when I mentioned that, if we do agree on price, we have to go over this on the computer, the agreement. And you said that was fair. Did I screw something up? And this is when we start uncovering these little sales skills, or these little sales objections that we can try to overcome will save us from deals. I mean, it's saved us from hundreds of thousands of deals over the last 2 years. Is figuring out what's wrong. Because for this instance, well, no, nothing's wrong. I just need to, you know, I'm just not ready to sign. Just send it over to me. Oh, okay. Well, I know you said you were okay with it when we talked 5 minutes ago. That you're fine with going over the agreement. Did I say something wrong? And when you start blaming yourself, acting like the puppy dog, the sellers will rescue you. They'll say, "No, I actually just need to show this to my attorney." And what you then, now know is the objection. And like we talked about in the first slide, once we know that objection, we can now target it. Oh, you need it. I understand. And I'll tell you, Mr. Seller, usually when, and we always want to say the first time, Chandler, when sellers tell us they got to talk to attorneys, it's probably because I didn't explain something wrong or right, and they don't feel like they can really trust me. You're making this as awkward as possible. No, I really need to talk to my attorney. Well, in that case, we know for sure that's the true objection. And what we're going to do is say, okay, well, we can't send it over until you're ready to move forward. But what we can do is go over it with your attorney and you on the phone. When can we set up a time? And right there, you get over the objection. And now what he might also say is he might say, well, to be honest with you, I need a little bit more in price. I just don't feel comfortable at that price. I got you. I understand. And now we got the objection. So I won't go any more into that. Third thing is, like we already talked about, giving the seller permission to say no. Bring that guard down so we can go into deeper conversation with them. And now, Chandler, I'll let you take it away. Now, guys, remember, any questions on this, leave them right now. We'll go back to them. I can't see the questions. Chandler might, but I won't go over them now. Let's wait till the end if we get any, and we'll go over it for the rest of the time.
For sure. So before we move on to the next part, I do want to add on some of the things that we've learned from people who are doing this at a high level as well. I think that we're getting to that point now as well. I feel like we're operating pretty high level. But if there's ever a problem that you're having over and over again, like let's say, for example, you're sending documents via contract purchase agreements out to sellers and they're not coming back signed. They're just getting sent out and then they're left there and then you don't get them signed. So all you got to do is think, can I fix this in the expectations point of view? Like if I bring this up at the beginning and establish the rules of how the process works, will that fix this problem? The answer is yes for most situations. So for that, we had a major issue with that, like 8, 9, 10 months ago, a long time ago. And all we did was just tell them, like, hey, like Gino said, we're just going to go over the contract together at the end of the call. And now we get every single contract signed. No one doesn't sign it.
Yeah.
So it's just a small thing, just setting the rules for how the game works. You're teaching customers how to be clients, right? Or sellers how to be clients and how to work through your process. And, as long as they know what's going on, they're not confused, they'll move on right on through. So
you can't get mad at a seller that doesn't do what you want because you didn't set the expectation with them, right?
100%.
You got to make sure you're letting them know. You can't get mad that the seller doesn't sign the contract right away when you didn't tell them that, you have to go over it together.